Last lesson for Unit R, and we're going to solve a right triangle. Whenever it tells you to solve a right triangle, it means to find all of the missing parts. Now, when you have a triangle, you have 3 sides and 3 angles. Excuse me. They are always going to give you 3 of the parts that you need. They'll always give you at least one side. But we have to find the missing sides. So let me get this where we can see everything. There we go. Now, in my opinion, if they give you one of the angles, and this is always going to be a right angle, so that's always a given. If they give you one of the other angles, then that's the easy one to find. Because if you're missing one angle out of a triangle, that means you know the other 2. If you know the other 2 and you know that a triangle, all angles add up to be 180, and one of those is 90. If this is 90, then how much are these going to be? If you put them together, if you add them up, they are going to be 90, because 90 plus 90 is 180. So the short way is take 90 and subtract the angle that they give you, and we know one of the 3 parts that are needed in this answer. Okay, now let me erase. That's how you find the angle, if they give you one of the other angles. Okay, DE. DE right here. And if we are looking for DE, and they give us 45, and this is the hypotenuse, and this is opposite. So what is that? Sine 45, because opposite over hypotenuse equals x over 2 square root of 2. So if we put this over 1 and we get a fraction equaling a fraction, again, we're going to cross multiply. 1 times x is 1x equals 2 square root of 2 sine 45. If you put that in the calculator, you are going to get 2. And I probably shouldn't have used x. I should have said that this is DE, so I wouldn't get lost in what I'm finding. So if this is DE, this is DE, then I know that I'm finished with that, and DE is 2. And if I know anything about triangles, then I know that if I have a 45, 45, 90, then my 2 sides are the same. So if that is 2, then EF is 2 also. Also, another hint is, if you know it's 45, 45, 90, and your hypotenuse has a square root of 2 with it, then the shortcut is whatever is in front of the square root of 2 is what's going to be your legs. But if the hypotenuse has anything other than square root of 2 for 45, 45, 90, then you're going to have to do a little bit of work. Okay, let's find the other angle. If this is 30 and this is 90, if I do 90 minus 30, then I would get 60. So measure of angle I is 60. So I've done that part. Now let's find GI. Or, shortcut, again, if you know the hypotenuse of a 30, 60, 90 triangle, 60, 60, then the short leg is always half the hypotenuse. So if we take 2 square root of 38 and divide by 2, the square root of 2's will cancel out, and you're given that. But let's say that we don't know that. I'm just going to go ahead and put this answer right there. I know I'm going to kind of bouncing back and forth, but, you know, that's how things go. So we'll say that this is GI, and from 30, GI is opposite, and this is the hypotenuse. So opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So sine 30 equals, I don't know GI, over 2 square root of 38. So 2 square root of 38 sine 30 is what you put in the calculator. Let's see if it works. And it does. Whenever you put that in the calculator, then you get your GI equals square root of 38, just like I said earlier. Okay, square root of 38. Now, if you're looking for the long one, and you know the short, then we would do square root of 38 times 3. If you whatever's on the inside, you multiply it by 3. So 38 times 3 is 114. Square root of 114 is the square root of 114. Okay. That's what this is right here. But let's see if the calculator will give that to us. So we put GH. Or we can use the Pythagorean Theorem. Let's use the Pythagorean Theorem. I haven't even shown y'all that part. If we know 2 of the 3 sides in a right triangle, we can always use the Pythagorean Theorem. And so a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I don't know GH, but I would square it, plus the square root of 38 squared equals 2 square root of 38 squared. I need some more room. Okay, I don't know GH squared, but if I square something that's been square rooted, then they undo each other and I just get 38. 2 times 2 is 4 because I was squaring it, and the square root of 38 squared is 38, so that'd be 4 times 38. Four times 38 is 152. Subtract the 38. $114. And if you take the square root of 114, you can't get anything, so it's the square root of 114. So that's another way of getting it, or you could have used cosine or tangent on that, depending on the sides that you use. Okay, so again, we have 45 and 90, so obviously that one is 45. So if I just know one of these, then we'll be able to know the other one. So there's a couple ways that you could do it, knowing the rule. You take the hypotenuse and you divide it by square root of 2. But that can't happen, so you put square root of 2 over square root of 2. We did this in another lesson. That would be 42 over 2, square root of 42. So the 20 and the 2 reduced to 10. So this would be 10 square root of 42, both of them, because it's a 45, 45, 90 triangle. That is 42. I was saying 45, but 45. Okay. Or you can take this 45, you can look at this x, which is opposite, and this is your hypotenuse. And let's go ahead and do it. So opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So sine 45 equals opposite 20 square root of 21. And then put that over 1. So x equals 20 square root of 21 sine 45. I am just curious if the calculator will work on this. Square root 21 sine 45. Hey, it actually did. I didn't think that, since it's such a weird number, I didn't think it was going to work. That's why I showed you this way. So I guess, when it says simplify rationalized form, do not round. It means do not get a decimal. So if you are using a calculator that gives you decimals, you're going to be able to get them. You're going to be getting them wrong. So make sure you grab a calculator or know the rules to get it without anything else. Okay. 3 more. Let's see if I can zip it up. Okay. 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 The easy one is the side this time because we know 2 of the other 2 sides, and I can see that the short side is half the hypotenuse. If that ever happens, then this is the short side times square root of this is, ooh, what happened? Come here. Okay. This is short side times square root of 3, which would be 20 square root of 30. And that does not simplify. So that would be 20 square root of 30. But if you don't know that, there's 2 more ways, and I'm going to show you just so you can say, can't say that I never showed you one way or the other. Okay, another way is you know 2 sides and you need the other one. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We don't know a squared, we know 20 square root of 10 squared equals 40 square root of 10 squared. 400 times 10 is 4,000. 1,600 times 10 is 16,000. Subtract that. 12. Just out of curiosity, one more time. Yeah, that didn't work. Abort. You don't want me to, you do not want to know. You don't want to have to do this, okay? So if you get something like that, then go on to another way of getting it. So let's do, let's find an angle. Again, if you know that this is if the short leg is half as big as the hypotenuse, then you know that this is a 60 and this is a 30 because it's a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Okay, back it up. If you didn't recognize that, then say we want to find z. This is the hypotenuse. This is opposite, so we're going to do inverse sine. So z equals inverse sine of opposite over hypotenuse. And I'm not going to put it in there because I know I'm going to get 30. So that's going to be 30. If you know that this is 30 and this is 90, then this has to be 60 because they have to add up to be 180. Once you know that, then if you want to come back and get this, then cosine 30 equals adjacent, which we don't know, yz over the hypotenuse. So yz would be 40 square root of 10 cosine 30. Again, out of curiosity, I'm grabbing the calculators that y'all know how to use and seeing if it works again. And it does. So 20 square root of 30. Okay. If this is 35, then this is 90 minus 35, which would be 55. That one is done. And then I'm about out of time, so I'm going to quit for there. If you need any more help, then let me know. But in this one, remember that we are rounding to the nearest tenth. That means that it's okay to get decimals and just round. Everything else is basically the same. 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.